The chase, we're just set to thrill. Ben and John are here, making time stand still. Diving deep, where others just pretend. They're your guides on this journey, chasing descent. Chasing descent, where truth's the quest. Ben and John won't give it a rest. In a maze of facts, they find their way, bringing the dawn of a clearer day. They laugh, they probe, they take no sides. Through rabbit holes they take their strides. With Finn and Banter, they're heaven sent. Ben and John, chasing descent. So hit subscribe, don't be content. Join the chase, be omnipresent. With Ben and John, no time is misspent. On the trail with chasing descent. Chasing descent, where truth's the quest. Ben and John won't give it a rest. In a maze of facts, they find their way, bringing the dawn of a clearer day. Chasing descent, where truth's the quest. Ben and John won't give it a rest. In a maze of facts, they find a way, bringing the dawn of a clearer day. They laugh, they probe, they take no sides. Through rabbit holes, they take their strides. With wit and banter, they're heaven sent. Ben and John, chasing descent. So hit subscribe, don't be content. Join the chase, be omnipresent. With Ben and John, no time is misspent. On the trail with chasing descent. Chasing descent, where truth's the quest. Ben and John won't give it a rest. In a maze of facts, they find their way, bringing the dawn of a clearer day. Chasing descent, where truth's the quest. Ben and John won't give it a rest. In a maze of facts, they find a way, bringing the dawn of a clearer day. They laugh, they probe, they take no sides. Through rabbit holes, they take their strides. With wit and banter, they're heaven sent. Ben and John, chasing descent.
Bonsoir, mon petit enfant. La France, elle est morte. Vive la France. Well, it's all looking like it's gone Pete Tong, and the last week has seen an awful lot of activity among the French politicians as they've tried to thwart Le Pen's far right National Rally Party from gaining any kind of foothold in French politics come round two of the election. So the French election is a strange and curious beast because they have an original election. If no one wins an outright majority of over 50% of the vote, then it goes on to round two. Now, to qualify for round two, you've got to have more than 12.5% of the vote. And normally, round two's fought between two parties, but this time it hasn't been. This time it's been fought between three parties. It's been fought between Le Pen's National Rally, which got 33% of the vote. The far right, which NFP I think they're called, which got 27% of the vote, and Mr. Macron's party, which describes itself as centrist, and they got 21% of the vote. So as you can see, these three have gone forward into the round two, and along with some others that have gone into it as well. And what's happened is that although Le Pen's party was forecast to take quite a few parts of the vote, the little French politicians have been very sneaky indeed. So what's happened is that Macron's centrist party has come to a deal with the far left indeed, to drop standing candidates, to withdraw them, where the far left were going to win anyway. So what that's effectively done is give the far left a much bigger vote, because if you were going to vote for Macron's centrist, you probably weren't going to vote for Le Pen. So by dropping it and still having the Le Pen's, the far left there, they've really boosted the far left vote. So this vote hasn't been split. So Macron has effectively conceded defeat because it was mainly centrist politicians that did drop out. So he's effectively conceded defeat. Now, it's not as clear cut as you might think, because this might yet still, even now, backfire on him. So exit polls are saying that, and let's have a look at what the exit polls are giving us. So remember, this isn't set in stone, but France is pretty hot on this kind of stuff, and it won't change an awful lot. This is probably pretty much how it's going to be. So the Nouveau Front Populaire, 172 to 192 votes. That's not enough for a full majority. You need 289 to have a full majority in the French Parliament. So they will have to team up with another party. And what normally happens is the biggest party is asked by the president to form a government. And obviously, Macron's centrist party there is scheduled to have between 150 and 170 votes. And then RN, which is Marine Le Pen's party, is down at 132 to 152 votes. A far cry from the 230 odd that they got in the first round. So you can see that they have been well and truly stuffed. So what does this mean? Well, this means that there's going to be a coalition between the far left and the centre, and you can't even call them centre left because Macron's prime minister has offered is going to offer his resignation tomorrow morning to Mr. Le Pen. So Mr. Le Pen is sorry to Mr. Macron. So Gabriel Attal is offering his resignation. He's done. He's had his last speech. He's out. So he's going. And everybody accepts that, the Nouveau Front Populaire have won. But they haven't won an outright election. Now, the thing was, there is a chance that Le Pen's party wouldn't have got, I think, what's his name, Badola or something, is the young chap in charge of the National Party. Now, it's unlikely that they have got 289 seats anyway. And he's always said that he's not going to form a government if he didn't have an outright majority. So if he didn't have 289 seats, he was going to reject Macron's offer to form a government, which would have left Macron in the situation where he would have had to have asked the other parties basically to all club together and form a government, while RN sat in the background and just vetoed everything because they probably have just as many votes as everybody else, or nearly as many votes as everybody else. So, if they were never going to form a government without having an absolute majority, then all this has done is make sure that they aren't in power, because the big fear from the RN party, or national what do they call it, national rally. The big fear from them was that they would take control, but they wouldn't really have, if they didn't have an outright majority, they wouldn't have the ability to make the changes to France that the population would see within the next 3 years, when there's going to be another election, because this is a snap election. There didn't need to be an election called until 2027, but there will be another election in 2027. So if they had gone into power in now in 3 years' time, there's been another election and they've done badly, then the chances are that they would not be elected. So Le Pen and but what's his name, Bardola or something, Bardella, that's it. So Le Pen and Bardella, they're probably not too upset by this in real terms. So I think who's really losing out here are the French, because they now got a far left party in charge. And when I say far left, I mean far left. These guys are just shy of I mean, one of the parties here is the Communist Party, and they're scheduled to have like 10 seats. The Communist Party, yeah. And they'll be part of the government now. Yeah. Okay. So France has gone extreme. It's gone from far right, allegedly, to far left, and of course, all the people that were out burning down Paris the other night are now having a party in the middle of it. These are the same people. You know, these are the people that were all up in arms and burning down. Oh, good evening, Shalini. A new phone. Excellent. Burning down, shops, businesses, setting fire to cars, fighting with the police. And now they're just having a party in the middle of the square. Because the far left have won. Because if the far left wins, everything's all right. So it's quite interesting. And of course, the media, and I mean, Adam tells me the media, the BBC, are just about having an orgasm, pardon me, over the rejection of the far right. And Hamza useless. He's been on Twitter going, it's great that the French have rejected the far right. Appeasement never works. Appeasement never works, Hamza. That coming from you. That's just about the most ridiculous thing you've ever said. You've done nothing but be an appeaser. Good grief. It's incredible. These people are absolutely incredible. They have no sense of irony. Absolutely none. So that's where we are with the French election. It's very much looking like France is done. It's going to be far left for the next 3 years. What's wrong with this? Why is this stopped? We were watching France 24. Oh, there we are. So we're watching France 24. Some of the why is this happening? What is going on? Can you people still see me? Can you still see me? Yeah. Oh, it appears that France 24 might not be doing very well with their broadcast. No, it's not doing well at all, is it? That's a bit strange. Anyway, so there we are. Yeah, good for Mayor Toozy. He's got the resources that we don't have. But he hasn't lived in France. So, all this far left nonsense, it really only applies to Paris. Because, I've lived in 3 or 4 different regions in France, and everybody's very, very nationalistic. They're not interested in immigration. They don't want immigrants. They don't want. They're not left leaning by any stretch of the imagination. They're very nationalistic, and they're very leave us alone and let us get on with things. And that's why the French, when they run a business, they usually have 2 books. They have the cash book, and then they have the book for the government. So they have 2 sets of books, and one of them's never seen by the government. Because this is my cut, and this is for the government to view, and they will get a cut of this, which will be substantially less than if we combined both our books together. So yeah, France is basically everybody in France is committing fraud by by evading paying tax. I say that loosely, but it's probably true. So I don't know what's up with giggles here. We seem to. I don't know what's going on with the France 24 because I was going to play a little bit of it because they had a fantastic argument on this. I really nearly went live at 8:10 because there was a far left guy and a National Rally guy, and I thought they were actually going to come to fisticuffs. It looked like they were just about to start fighting. It would have been a joy. And the thing was, what do you call them, the host, they weren't very good, so it took ages for them to jump in and try and defuse the situation. It would have been quite funny. It would have. So that's kind of where we are with the French. Now, what else has happened today? Oh, we had the British Grand Prix. What a race. I know you're not interested in Formula One, but oh my God, what a race. Absolutely brilliant. There's nothing like a bit of rain for giving you a bit of excitement in the Formula One. And I couldn't believe it. Hamilton won. And before you all go, you know, he came from behind. He did everything right. And at the end, he was sitting in the car and he had to shut his visor because he was sitting green. He was just crying his eyes out, basically. And he sat in the car for about 2 minutes before he got out. And in fact, I think he was still crying when he got to the podium because this is his last British Grand Prix at Mercedes, because obviously next year he goes to Ferrari. And it was all very emotional. But yeah, he won. He beat Verstappen fair and square. He beat George fair and square before George had a problem. And he beat Lando fair and square. So he did really well. Yeah. I've got to give him credit where credit's due. He made all the difference in the tricky conditions. He drove like an absolute world champion, and he did a good job. Hey, these things happen. It's funny that how when somebody stops winning all the time, you actually start to maybe think, oh, they've actually done a good job today. Whereas like Verstappen, I just want to see him beat all the time now. I just want to see him beat, you know. So the chat and the France 24 thing is saying things like Skynet went online and became self-aware. So it looks like it might be France 24 that's having issues. Maybe things are going awry. Oh, England won. Yeah, England won. Was that last night? Yeah, they were playing yesterday, weren't they? Yeah, there were it's penalties or something. Um, yeah, yeah. I've heard they're not a great team and they're not particularly good. But you know, you got a guy that just plays with spreadsheets all the time. What are you going to get? Yes, in the semis, well, there's always a chance to screw it up. Hopefully they will. Yeah, hopefully they will. We'll see what happens. I just it can't be done with England winning the thing because you'll never hear the end of it from commentators, you know. And I don't watch football, but they bring it into absolutely everything, you know. You just don't want to hear it, and it's like they're still going about 1966. It's like let it go. It's like the SNP, the SNP are having a scream just now. They're having a rally in Elgin next week. You know, a march for independence. Now hold on a minute. Did Hamza not actually say, and I think he did, I think if you go back and listen to Hamza, he said that the general election would be a de facto referendum for Scotland. So if the SNP won in Scotland, then that was a clear, pardon me, that was a clear mandate for independence. Well, you know what? They didn't. They didn't not just not win. They got humped. I mean, they lost 38 seats. So I think that's a clear indication that independence is well and truly dead and buried, is it not? So I don't. These guys are like, oh, come on, you know, take the hint. Take the hint. See, Stuart Seaton's disappeared since my wife gave him a doing. But it is. It's like take the hint. The country doesn't want independence, or it would have voted for the SNP, wouldn't it? Because the SNP is a single issue party. Everything, everything falls by the wayside when it comes to independence. And they're obviously a single issue party because they can't handle anything other than just thinking about independence. They must sit there in their little cloisters, furiously having fun to the thoughts of independence. But they're no fun. They're no fun at all. So good turnout in the chat tonight, chaps. Good to see you all. Shalini, Joey C, Militant, Beats and Tapes. Oh, Dreadeye, RCW. Europe needs to close up. Well, yes, it does, RCW, but the problem is we're not having enough children. So, they've come back. The French are back. La France, vive la France. So anyway, the problem is we're not having enough children. So if we don't have enough children, what's going to happen? It won't matter if we close the borders or not, because eventually there'll be nobody there to man the borders. We're going down the tubes because we don't have enough kids. And Elon Musk is right on this. Worldwide, the problem's never going to be overpopulation. It's going to be underpopulation, because the population is going to start dropping in the next decade. It might look like it's going to keep rising forever, but it's not. It's very quickly tailing off, and then it's going to start dropping. And when it starts dropping, it's going to drop like a stone. And it is going to come down quite dramatically. Now, this might be 50, 60 years in the future, so it won't affect me, but it will affect your children and your grandchildren. So, really, people are not having enough kids. And if you don't believe me, go and look it up. Go and do some research. We're not having enough kids. And that's why these European demagogues, or whatever you call them, are so content to allow immigration. But even that's not going to cure anything. It's not going to cure anything. It's just going to make everything into a massive kind of welfare state, because you're not bringing in doctors, lawyers, and nurses and brain surgeons. You're not bringing these people in. You're bringing in people that are economic migrants that are and or criminals. That's the problem. So and Sir Keith has just said he's not going to deport anyone, hasn't he? So there's bang. There you go. So you've got what's come, and you'll get more. It's just what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do? Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, but Slaney, you're half of that certain demographic. Have you seen the population of India? It's mental. Did you see the Polish guy abusing the white woman in Poland? Although it was supposed to be in Poland. No, I know you're not a Muslim. I know, but the Indian subcontinent is overrun with people because they do have a fantastic breeding program. Mind you, a lot of it's built on really dubious circumstances. But we're not going to go into that on YouTube. But yeah. So there was a guy in. It looked like a B&Q type place. I think it was meant to be in Poland, right? But he was abusing a white woman who was meant to be Polish because she was with an Indian guy, and he was calling them all sorts of slurs and things. But why were they speaking in English? That's the part I don't understand. Why were they speaking in English? I think the whole thing was a setup. Really, I think it really must have been. That'll be them. They'll just be trying to go for clicks and views, wouldn't they? Anyway. Oh. Where will you be back in a while? You were going to say. You were just going to say that. What did I say? Looks like he won't be back in a while. I don't know. Oh, good God, I don't know who we're talking about. I'm no Joe Biden, but I'm getting there. Forgot the the things that hang down the side of boats to stop other boats bumping into them. I forgot what you call them today. you tell me. You've said in the chat. Yes, was just going to say that, John. Looks like he won't be back in a while. And I'm thinking, who's he? I can't remember. Oh my God, this is turning into like a Joe Biden episode, isn't it? Oh, have you got any ice cream? Right, let's have a quick listen to what this guy's saying. See what he see if there's any nonsense coming out. Oh no, Stuart, right, that's it. Yeah, it looks like he took the hump. But you know what? I can't quite understand why anyone who's a staunch SNP and wants independence for Scotland would follow this channel. Really, really. I mean, Ben doesn't care, which is fine, and I am totally against it. Totally against it. Right, let's see what these guys are saying.
Nick, thank you from Berlin to London. Hello to Benedict Pavio. Benedict, you've been busy the last 2 days bringing in and saying hello and talking to Keir Starmer, the new centre-left Prime Minister there, who was London calling himself yesterday. All the leaders,
hold on a minute.
Including
Let me interrupt you there.
I'm guessing Keir Starmer didn't bank on this either, given the polls.
Yeah, let me interrupt you there. What makes you think that Keir Starmer is centre-left, my good man? Because as Ben would point out, Keir Starmer was a Trotskyist communist.
Finalised yet. I think they will wait for that. Today, for Mr Starmer, the new Labour Prime Minister, it was very much about concentrating on the four nations. Of course, he will be...
Oh, but by
the way, the laughter that you're hearing is from a lovely, charming group of people who've got nothing to do with the fact that we're here at a pub. That's very sweet of you. Thank you very much indeed. So sorry. Hope we haven't spoilt your evening.
Benedict, you've made
so
it. You
I think they'll be very cautious.
You've made their
sorry, I was... Oh, Gavin.
Well, also you have the backdrop of the evening.
All right, we've just gone viral. I know, I can just feel it. Absolutely. Thank you for that. That's you again. So yes, I think they will be very cautious, and they will say whether it's the election of whether it's Mr. Biden, if indeed he is very much still the candidate in November against Mr. Trump. They will be very careful about what they say about elections abroad, and that they will work with whoever the French people.
Was she moaning about people in the pub making noise? For God's sake, come on. Right, new product. This is a sticky toffee and caramel muffin that Andy came up with today. Her own recipe. And I've been out and handed it out among some of the mechanics and things that were here working away. And they have indeed given it the seal of approval. I will show you it and see what you think, how it looks. What do you think? Oh, it won't be in focus at that range. What do you think? I didn't like it. Anyway, what do you think of that? I tasted the cake earlier, just a little bit of it, and it is very, very nice. Very nice indeed. Right, I think we've pretty much covered everything this evening. Let's see what these French wallies are saying. Well, they're English.
Nodding earlier when our correspondent in Berlin was saying that maybe now French politicians need to learn a few lessons from Germany, where, of course, there is a culture of coalitions.
There's a culture in several countries of coalition. One of the most famous ones is Germany, if I could put it this way. That's maybe, yes, if we could change the French politics into something more efficient, more intelligent, calmer than it used to be, especially in the last weeks in the National Assembly, which was such a circus, disastrous image. I think we have something to learn from other countries. And one thing I just would like to stress, because we've heard your correspondents both in Berlin and London, yes, foreign affairs will be a major issue at stake. For the two previous cohabitations between Jacques Chirac and François Mitterrand and Jacques Chirac and Lionel Jospin, both President of the Republic and Prime Minister were aligned on the foreign affairs issues. Whereas now, if we have another type of cohabitation, it might not be the case. Let's not forget that France is the only EU country at the United Nations Security Council, a nuclear power belonging to NATO, so we're talking about a very important country, and if both powers don't walk at the same pace, it might give a very bad image in other countries.
I think this evening, or at least the impression I have, is that we've talked a lot about, of course, the unexpected results and sort of the political strategy going on to have got us to this point. But we haven't talked a huge amount about policy. And perhaps rather than asking ourselves why it is that the Republican front held and why certain French voters chose not to go for the far right, why did they opt for the other side? What was the far left or the left-wing alliance?
Because you took away the centrist
that
vote.
appealed to voters so much.
It didn't
However,
appeal.
on the policy,
You just took away the
what do you think
centrist
people went
vote.
for?
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. Whatever. I mean,
There was no substance. You're saying
there
to
was
this
no
election.
substance. It was an emergency election. I mean, everyone scrambled to figure out what will happen.
And to be fair, this is kind of what happened with our election as well, because nobody was really prepared for it in July, because they were all kind of taking it easy, thinking it was going to be November or something like that, weren't they? And then suddenly, boom! No, she's not French; she's English. So they this is France 24 English version, because you'd be struggling to keep up with the French one, I can assure you. Yeah. So the French the British election was much the same. People were scrabbling about looking for policies, making things up on the fly, like national service and all that nonsense. I mean, he knew he wasn't getting in, so he could say anything he liked, and he was just pulling things out of his hat to try and get some, populism or populist votes, and that really didn't work, did it? And of course, what the French have done here, you've seen the French, so these sneaky French politicians will work together. Now, the centrist party and the far left are completely at odds with each other when it comes to policies, right? But they've worked together to make sure that Le Pen didn't get in, right? And this is what Reform and the Tories could have done. They could have sat down round the table and gone, right, well, we're never going to win this Labour seat, but Reform might if we pull the Tory, or vice versa. We've got a really good chance of winning this, but Reform will split our vote, so we'll pull the Reform. Now, if they'd sat down and done that, there's a good chance that the Tories and Reform could have made they could have been a hung parliament, but they could have made a coalition and still been in government. They really could have. Because you look at what they voted, they got enough votes. They got more votes than the Labour did. So if they'd sat down and did what the French did, they could probably have swung it that way. But no, because, so pig-headed that we won't work, Reform are just far right and we can't work with them, Reform's the next Tory party, the way things are going. And this is what Le Pen's doing. She's targeting 2027 for the presidential election as well. And that's what Farage is now targeting. He'll be targeting 5 years' time. That'll be 2029, won't it? So he'll be targeting that. So it's just sometimes people are so pig-headed, that they could have made an accommodation, but they decided they wouldn't even attempt. Rishi said he was going to hang on until his successor had been appointed. Somebody put a thing up today on Twitter, and it does look a bit like The Ring or something like that, when he's standing at that lectern with his wife standing behind him. And somebody put up a thing that said he looks like he's being haunted by the person that he ran over. That's quite accurate. I quite like that. Oh, Mr. Jungle Griffin, haven't seen you for ages, sir. Haven't seen you for ages. Nice to see you dragging yourself out, slumming it with the scum here. Right, what's this fraud? This Frenchy guy. He's got a good accent.
Go ahead.
It has been pushed to its limits.
Oh.
I mean, this game of giving up elections in each voting area in order to benefit this vote or not. Elaine was saying it before.
She's talking about what I was
People
talking
who
about.
voted for Elizabeth Warren tonight and who were on the street, in the streets protesting violently against her laws, especially against the retirement law. I mean, can you imagine? I think psychologically,
party now.
what is it going to be for those people? I think this result is putting...
Do you know there were like over 50 candidates assaulted in France? 50 election candidates were assaulted, some of them hospitalised while they were out canvassing. So yeah, France is getting a bit rough, a bit roughy-tufty there. What's happening?
Goers have already left. The scene behind me is pretty empty. There are still some people across at the bar, I should add, but they're asking us to wrap up, and I don't think this is going to continue late into the night, because this has been a disappointing evening for them, no matter how they try and dress it up. We should add that Marine Le Pen came in very quickly to the room to great cheers of support from her party members, but to the press she had to answer questions about how disappointed she was, and she said that she wasn't disappointed because the RN had managed to increase its number of MPs in the French Parliament according to these exit polls, but she was very much trying to see the bright side of things there. Asked repeatedly whether she would be president in 2027, she didn't answer directly, but she insisted we will continue, and she called this alliance of the centre and the left, she called it completely incoherent and predicted it would collapse very quickly. So there was a certain amount
Well, I think
of
there's a good chance of that. I think there's a good chance of the alliance collapsing because, it's a marriage of convenience, and really there's not going to be any love lost between these two. It's like a desperate attempt for Macron to hang in there, isn't it? And of course there's a good point. That's the far left now, the major party. So what does this mean for NATO? What does it mean for NATO? If you've got a far left, what would it mean for NATO? If, say, for instance, the SNP won and got independence, I take it Scotland wouldn't be in NATO because we'd be doing away with all the. Well, we wouldn't have an army or a navy, and we'd do away with all the nuclear weapons. So what would be the point? The whole thing is ridiculous. It really is. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have even touched on that because it's just ridiculousness. So I don't think there's an awful lot of low intellect people on the chat and YouTube for the French 24 channel because they're not seeing the big picture here. They're not seeing what's happening behind the scenes, and they don't understand. I don't think they understand that National Rally were never going to form a government if they didn't get a full majority because they don't want to be set up to fail, and that's what these guys are going to do. Now they've set themselves up to fail here. You've got the far left in control of an unholy abortion of a what would you call it, coalition. Yeah, this isn't going to go well at all. It's not going to go well at all. Macron's going to turn around tomorrow and ask the far left to form a government. I can see this all ending in tears. The next thing you know, it'll be the Soviet Socialist Republic of France. Maybe be taken up with someone else. Xi Jinping will be in there like Flynn, Their best buddies will be Kim and Jong and Xi. Yeah, I think they've done it. Oh. Well, I think that's actually enough for this evening. I don't know what you guys think. It was just I wasn't going to do a thing today, but then I thought, yeah, well, I will. Oh my God, did she have some wild squint on going on there? She just looked a bit mad. She looked like a dog when you offer a fish, you know. Gimme, 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 gimme. Yeah, keep your eyes down, doll. Keep your eyes down. Oh. So, as I said, we're not going to hear a lot from America until about the middle of the week because they go on a kind of mad holiday, don't they? And remember, people, this is anniversary of 7/7. So, just remember, if you want to look into that, Ed posted a link earlier on where him and I had gone into that in great detail, or well, as much detail as we ever do. We've been talking about the rabbit hole this week, so there's a couple of things on the back burner for it. So we'll see how that goes. I think we'll have some juicy stuff there. The extreme left and right, well, yeah, they do, because actually the first ever meme that I made was like a circle that nearly touched, and up here I put far left and up here I put far right, and that's exactly. They think they're very far apart, but no, they've really just gone so far that they're almost meeting each other in the middle. That's exactly where they are. So if you've got to go out for work tomorrow, don't we all? Shall we do the Wheel of Luck? Shall we do the Wheel of Luck for the what's it called? For the outro. Let's see what we can get. Shall we? Hold on, I need to turn it on first, don't I? The wheel. Oh, there's nothing on that one. Not to worry, people. I've got another backup Wheel of Luck. Right. Let's do the Wheel of Luck. Let's see what we're going out with. Oh, we did Ruthless last night. I'm going to respin it. We did Ruthless last night. Oh my God! Right, let's just try that again. Right, we've got something different. It wasn't fixed, Julie. I've changed it. I'm not trying to fix anything, doll. I mean, I like Ruthless. It's a good song, but it features me a lot because Ben wouldn't send me any pictures of himself to put in it. So, but that's what happens when you've got a narcissist. He only sends you pictures that he considers to be of extreme value, and you don't get many of them. But we'll go out to the bike wankers. That's a nice short one. It's only 2.5 minutes. And if you haven't seen it, I think you might enjoy it. And as always, it's been great, hasn't it? It's been great for you. Oh, let's try that again. And as always, it's been great for you. Sniffing seats like a bracer, crashing up the neighborhood. Oh, it feels so good. I'm a wild down round the blocker, rounding everyone I know. Oh, it feels so good. Round and round the block I go, watching everyone I know, sniffing every single seat, running fast, can't be beat. Pedal power in my veins, laughing through the summer rains. Not a care, no need to hide. I'm the
work I go, watching everyone I know, sniffing every single seat, riding fast, can't be beat. Pedal power in my veins, laughing through the summer rains. Not a care, no need to hide, I'm the waker with my pride. I'm a bike waker, sniffing seats like a